DM073 Gaming is brought to you by Happy Little Hug Factory. If you're looking for pre-orders of the upcoming sets, including Time Spinning Witch or the new Structure Deck, singles, or booster boxes of previous sets that have come out, you can check the link down below. Happy Little Hug Factory also has a buy list for Force of Will, so you can get rid of those extra cards you have laying around and turn it into new upcoming product. Thanks so much, guys. Check them out and enjoy the video. Hey there guys, DM073 here, and I wanted to bring you kind of a different video today. I actually, with the ban list happening, we were going to do a feature match this week, and we were going to try to get some deck profiles up this week, but then the ban list dropped, so obviously the feature match we had recorded and the deck profiles didn't really make any sense because of the Otherworld Dreams ban list. But what we are going to do instead, just as a heads up, is this Wednesday we are actually going to be live streaming a pre-release, so check into the channel to come and join us for that. But today what I wanted to bring you guys was a breakdown of my personal favorite, and I think the cards that are going to probably have a lot of impact in the meta, 10 non-wind cards. So my top 10 non-wind cards. This is my personal list. It is by no means the absolute. It is by no means backed up by hours and hours and hours and hours of testing. This is just kind of from what I've seen so far, how I experienced in pre-release, how I've kind of already started to spice around with the decks, and that kind of stuff. I think these are cards that we're going to see have a lot of impact over time. And they're no green cards, not a single one. So let's talk about a few things. So we're going to start off with Flourishing Hope. So this card is the only inverse card on this list, and you'll see why. So Flourishing Hope is 1-drop. As you can see here, it's the Quick Cast Protect J-Res, and then you invert it. It can't be destroyed until end of turn. It can still be targeted, just can't be destroyed. This means by damage, this means by stat neg effects, this means by anything. It's safe for the whole turn. It can still be RFG'd, but a J-Ruler can't be RFG'd. Now, this card by itself is really good. J-Ruler protection at instant speed for only 1 will, I think is very, very nice. However, the reason why I like this card so much is its backside, which is Burgeoning Despair. So, in my testing so far with this set, as well as the stuff that I experienced at pre-release, this side of this card was insane. So it's 3-drop instant speed, play this card only from your removed area, target player banishes 2 Resonators. And the beauty thing is, if you cast this early to protect one of your guys, this thing can just sit in your RFG forever, and then your opponent's just like not thinking about it, or they set themselves up for a board state where they only have 2 creatures. Bam, for 3 will, gone. It doesn't matter if they have barrier, doesn't matter if they have a huge stat line, nothing of that matters. Your opponent has to sacrifice 2 Resonators, and it just sets up really good traps that help you just kind of finish off the game, as well as keep yourself in the game if things are getting a little wonky. Yeah, I think that Hope is really good, but I think it's even better because of Burgeoning Despair, and it's just a free card to cast later, which I think is awesome. Next up, we have Miscalculations, very similar in the frame of instant stuff. This card, destroy target attacking Resonator for 1 white. This is awesome. Like, there are so many Resonators that you just want to be able to say nope and deal with, especially for low cost, especially if you're not running decks that run True Blade or have to worry about anything like that. Miscalculation just says, you're dead. I think this card is going to see a lot of play, especially because I think green is going to see itself being more of a splash color more often, or like not in every deck as a primary color, so you're going to have to rely on things other than True Blade, kind of, to make use of it, and I think that Miscalculation helps to fill that niche, especially in white-based decks, who up until this moment, their main removal source was Zero's Magic Light, so this is just a really, really nice way to get around that, and the other thing is, it can't destroy blockers, so I think there's some balance in it too. Next up, we have Piggy. He is, I think, a massive card for red. We have been in a format for a while where turn things sideways the deck has been difficult to pull off, and I think Piggy existing helps that a lot, and I also think he's pretty fairly costed. So he's a 2-drop 5/7, right? Gets some strength counters, and then he can give swiftness and flying by spending your counters, so it actually is not a free effect. You actually have to invest in it, but you can set up being able to do these kind of very aggressive plays, and in a format where, or in a game where for a very long time that hasn't really been a thing, or swiftness has been on stuff that you're kind of like, Like, it's nice to be able to play these bigger red creatures and then use Piggy as a boost to help get that damage in. Like, most of the big flying finishers for red don't have swiftness, so then it's like, well, it's really easy to kill this, so it's not going to probably stick around. Piggy says, nope, if my Piggy's still here, I can make that happen and use it as a finisher, and I'm really excited to see red get that kind of thing back into its game plan. Then we have Beery Beery Ball, which is blue. That's actually my only red card. Sorry guys, I'm not a huge Rush player, but and there's a lot of instant speed removal. But moving into blue, there's Beery Beery Ball. Rest target Resonator. If the weather is Thunderstorm, deal damage equal to that Resonator equal to its attack. So it essentially becomes a 1-drop kill spell for blue. It's very easy for the weather to become Thunderstorm with Shayla, I think. Especially after she flips, and even just being able to rest it I think is fine. There's just a lot of other things that I think come into play with that, and I think that it couples really well with the next card we're going to look at, or one of the next couple cards we're going to look at that make Thunderstorm very easily for, and most Resonators are going to have, that you're going to care about, are going to have attack that's higher than their defense anyway. So then blue finally gets a 1-drop kill spell rather than a 1-drop bounce or 1-drop rest spell, which I'm pretty excited about. So this card is awesome. I love it so much. It's only 1-drop edition, which is great because it, specifically because it stops swiftness and flying stuff in J and Resonators that aren't water. Reason why I love this so much is because it was correctly designed at being a 1-drop, because of the fact that red's trying to rush your face in. So if you're on the play against fire, you want to be able to jam this turn 1 and immediately slow the game's pace down a little bit to match what you want to try to do, which I think is awesome. I think the other reason why I like this card so much is because it just naturally helps water decks get to those thunderstorms or get to rain on your opponent's turn without having to sacrifice stones or have to worry about your creatures sticking around for sure. I just think this card is a very, very helpful tool for water, and you're probably going to see it in most, if not all, water-based decks kind of for a very long time. Next up we have Black Tears, kind of going back into the darkness stuff. 2-drop, destroy all Resonators with total cost 1 or less. With Otherworld Dreams out of the meta, chants become very, very good again, because you don't have to worry about it getting cancelled, and you can get that first spell to really resolve. This destroys token decks, this destroys decks that go really wide. This is a really nice hard answer to Farer, or things like Lumia's Command if they're just sticking nothing but like Tamas and Sacred Elves. I just think this card is very, very good, especially in sideboard, and then for Scheherazade, she can cast it at instant speed, so that's really nice. I just think this card is going to see a lot of play in sideboards, at least for Scheherazade, and probably a lot of play in sideboards just all over the place. Same reason, kind of Evil Elemental Uprising. I really think this card is going to be huge. There's a lot of really cool graveyard effects or like recurring effects coming out, and I think that this card for just 1 says nope, you can't do that. Or even if your opponent is playing like a Planting Beans deck or something like that, you can just pay 1 black and just remove it. Scheherazade probably puts this in her main 5 extra deck most of the time, and I definitely could see other darkness decks playing this as a counter card, or in the sideboard, especially you think against Scarlet. If she plays that drop her hand, be able to play dinosaurs from the turn, I think this is really cool because you can say, well, I'm gonna remove your graveyard from the play from game, especially since it can't be chased. So I think there's just a lot of cool things that can come out of that, and I'm glad to see this kind of graveyard hate kind of being accessible again. Next up we have Lily, the Last Flower. I think this is a card that Dark Elves 100% needed to be playable. You can immediately give some stat negs when it enters the field, which really is nice, and then you can make use of those dead Dark Elves if you don't want to pay the life for them to make her even bigger and give her Drain so she can gain life back. So again, that wonderfulness of paying life with Dark Elves, and then you can use Lily to gain the life back, helps you stay in the game longer. So it's really cool to me that we're kind of seeing that come about. I definitely think that the one thing I've talked about before is that Dark Elves, I never really know what we were paying life for, like what was the end game of it. And so it's cool to see that now we don't necessarily have to worry about that as much. We have a way to gain that life back, so we can kind of like spend that resource and then gain it back and kind of get this actual transaction happening, actual resource management happening much better with them. So I'm very excited. Then we have Thought Control, and if you're playing Darkness, this card's going to be a 4 of in your deck. I'm sorry. I can't see a reason why this doesn't see at least a 4 of in every dark-based deck. This card is really, really awesome. I think early and late game, this card is great. You reveal their hand, so you just get complete information of their hand, and then anything 3 or less. So, like, if you're on the play, you're picking your opponent's turn 1 or turn 2 with an Energize, if not turn 3, and you have anything, spell, creature, addition, and you can just turn their entire mull against them. I just think this card is going to see a lot of play, and we're also going to need to see a lot of, like, it couples nicely with the fact that there's a lot of graveyard recursion going on, so you got to be careful about it. But at the same time, I definitely think this is just a card that's going to see a lot of play, and hands down, like, I think that Darkness decks in general are going to be very huge, and so we're going to be seeing lots of Thought Controls. So if you get full arts, now's the time to get a hold of them, because, whew, man, I think these are going to be pretty sought after. Last one, we're going actually back to water, is Keys Corkscrew. And hear me out on this. I think that this is really cool for the sake of, again, when it's very easy to get Thunderstorm going on, and Keys the Dolphin is a swiftness precision that can't be blocked off of this if you manage to get Thunderstorm, and it is a 10/10. So I think for water to have this ability to play a more aggressive style, which we've never been able to do really well with water outside of Ayu, but she's not really water, it's just a cool card, and so I definitely think that you might see that style of aggressive water deck come into play, and I for one am excited to see kind of what that brings. Tempo and aggression, and having maybe kind of a closer that you only have to see one of the 2 halves for. You play like a couple of Dolphins and several of these Corkscrews just to make sure you kind of see it more often. I definitely think that's just some cool things that could come out of it, and I'm glad to see that water is getting a lot of love in this set, including this card. So there you guys have it. That is my top 10 favorite cards, cards that I think are actually going to have potential impact in the game that aren't green. Hope you guys like it. Do you agree with this list? Do you think I'm crazy? What is your top 10 non-green card list? Very excited to see kind of what people think about that. I, for one, have been playing around for the set for a little bit and cannot wait to get my hands on product. And like I said, we're going to be doing a live stream this Wednesday of a pre-release, kind of last chance pre-release, and then later this weekend, probably on Saturday, we'll have the live stream opening of 4 boxes to see what we can kind of come out with. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for your support, and until next time, this is DMO73 signing off. Huge thanks to the patrons of the channel. You see their names here on the screen as well as down below in the description. They are what help make this channel run and help me do these awesome projects for you guys. If you feel like joining the channel and getting access to all the cool perks that come with being a patron, click on the P on the screen or the link down below. Thanks so much. See you next time.